and realized that I could pipe audio through. There is a video of this on YouTube. I'm happy to share it, but decided to call them back, playing music down the phone and all this stuff, and left it running. It was automated, so I just pressed the button. It would call them like 100 times, and I was like, do you know what? This can be escalated even more. Let's conference call them from themselves. So at one point, I decided, right, okay, wrote the software, wrote the script quickly, pressed the button, call the call center. Whenever they picked up the phone, it would then redial the call center and get another member of staff, and it would put them through in the line, and it would just keep doing this over and over again. If they hung up, it would dial them 10 times from 10 different numbers and try and push that agent back into the call system while blasting, I think that's a dance remix of This Is Sparta down the phone. And it totally and utterly shafted their PBX system. It just went down. That number completely died. The PBX system was unresponsive. The pop-up websites were never changed, so the 0800 number just went to engaged or user not active, and they were pretty pissed about it. But I left that running on their numbers, trained on their numbers for about 3 days. Spent about $40-50 something on all the calls, just blasting Gangnam Style, What Is Love, what's the other? No, Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up, and Badger, 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 Mushroom, Mushroom down the phone. That was quite a fun little experiment.
Well, do you know what ended up happening to it, or did you just the numbers just all disappear?
So the PBX system completely died on its arse. We know that much. We know that they suddenly. So there was a few interesting interactions. I was spamming them for this was over the course of like 24 hours. So I was spamming the shit out of them, and about 12 or 13 hours into it, one of the guys that I got on the phone said, "I will pay you a shit ton of money to tell me how you're spoofing your number and how you're doing all this bullshit." And I was like, "Okay, I'll take that. I will tell you how to do it." I was never going to actually tell him how to do it, or I was going to give them like just a link to some random PBX tutorial. But I said to them, the cost of me stopping the attack per se was all their victims, a database, because I knew they had a spreadsheet, and Jim Browning's videos clearly show that they keep a spreadsheet, they keep a log of everybody they've scammed, their details, their credit card numbers, their phone numbers, every record on them. And I wanted that database. I wanted some sort of database that tracked every single victim they'd taken money from, how much it was, so that I could pass that back to City of London or Action Fraud or whoever it may be, and go, look, here's in my newfound ability to actually talk to law enforcement without them wanting to arrest me. Here's a call center out in India that's scamming people. They've admitted to it. Here's the audio file of the admission, not the What Is Love and Rick Astley. But here's the audio file of them admitting to it, and here's the victims. Go out, do some community policing, go out and tell these victims that they need to change, their credit card numbers or whatever it may be. And they never actually came back with anything of the sort. The guy said he'd pay me in like dollars, but wasn't interested. I just wanted that list. But then after that, they were begging me to stop. At which point they just said, "Look, we'll shut up shop if you stop." And I didn't listen to them. I just kept blasting them. And as far as I'm aware, that group kind of disbanded. So win.
Proper win. That sounds fantastic, honestly.
It was
I
good
love the
fun.
idea that, I mean, you get lots of people like there's a group I know that sort of do it. They just sort of like, well, you know yourself. We just sort of fucking every now and again we just call them and annoy them. But spamming them sounds like a lot more fun.
Spamming them was good fun. It was certainly different because I was playing around with we were doing a radio show or a TV show on kind of like DDoSing and
Mm.
DDoSing via telephone system, and I was like, this is a great way for me to try it out. I can just DDoS them with music, and I remember being a wee bit kind of sketched out as to the legality of it.
Mm.
But I remember sitting in a room with a couple of City of London police officers, and I told one of them, and we're sitting there with quite a senior individual, I'll say,
Mm.
and I just remember getting nudged in the ribs, and it was like, "Tell him what you've done. Tell him what you did. Tell him what you did." And I'm like, "No, I'm
Mm.
gonna get arrested." And I remember their face was stony cold, and then they just broke down in fucking tears when I showed them the video. So yeah, it kind of went okay. Hope.
I kind of want to hear that. I kind of want to see that video one day now. I'm gonna annoy you about that next happy hour
I'll
when
I'll
I
I'll,
hit
I'll
some.
share it in the chat. I'll happily share the video in the chat.
I mean, if you want it, yeah, go on.
Yeah, I'll dump it in after the talk for anybody that's moderately interested. It's quite funny. Well, look out for Agent Patrick. He was an interesting individual.
I'm feeling you could be the next Tim Browning now. Just get this as your line of work.
Yeah, unfortunately though, I self docs though. Jim Browning at least doesn't self docs. So
That's a good point. That is a good point. You got me there, actually. Actually, just curious. Actually, you were talking about like what you do for work, anyway. But are you still? Were you saying you're with the police? Like you do sort of police work? I've just called you a fed. What? Or volunteered for the police? Do you still sort of do that stuff, or what's the crack with that?
not officially, no. So
No.
if I get a lot of stuff in. Put it that way. I get a lot of. I worked on a case 8 months ago, I think. A genuine criminal case. We solved it. Um, and my previous links helped me be able to deliver that information to the right people and be able to help out without many questions asked, which was great. The problem is I don't have any official way in. I don't have an official. I think the best way of explaining it, I don't have an official police email address. And yeah, my previous interactions really did help that. And I do like last year, I went out to the Dutch police's cybercrime conference, so about 1,500 people once a year meet up, and it's all in Dutch apart from like two or three things. And my keynote was in English. Thankfully, I didn't have to learn Dutch, but I gave a keynote to them about sextortion, which was really really cool. So although I don't work with them specifically, I still am linked up with them, and they can ask me questions off the record or unofficially and go, we have a database that kind of looks like this. What would you recommend we open it with? And what is the potential? So they're still out there asking questions of the right people. Well, I don't know if I'm the right person, but of certain people. Um, they're still out there, still asking for help, and it makes me feel a bit Sherlocky, like just being getting an email one day from so and so at certain police force going, "How the fuck does this work?" And I'm like, "Ah, that's easy. You just do this." So, yes and no is the answer.
So kind of like less volunteer than what you were, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I don't volunteer anymore. I left that organization because, again, you can look at my Twitter feed for this one. I think it's a pinned tweet. I left that
I will do.
organization after I found out that we just got about £500,000 in funding. Actually, we
Hmm.
asked for a lot more than that, and we were going to spend it on. Oh god, we're gonna spend it on, not salaries, but, like, equipment and like, stuff we needed, cards and just anything we needed, like, Raspberry Pis, laptops, anything that was required for us to do our job safely, with good OPSEC and whatnot, and they decided to spend that money on salaries, £650 a day for someone that runs out of password. So I left in disgust. And I think my proudest ever quote in the British media to date is, "What the fuck is this bullshit? This this spreadsheet is a fucking joke." I think that get printed in Private Eye because of what went on. Still ongoing. They're still not responding to emails or anything. So I decided again, similar to the $3 million episode. I thought if there's a team that I'm involved in that is whether they are or not is irrelevant, but if it looks as if they're corrupt in some way or taking money on the sly or 650 a day, I mean, I don't get paid 650 a day as a consultant. And like proper work, I don't get that. If they're getting 650 a day, I don't want to be associated or attached to that in any way. It's going to damage me professionally more. So much rather give them an opportunity to explain what the fuck they've been doing and what the hell that money's for. 650 a day each, 3 days a week, 49 weeks a year. Add it up, it's over 100 grand a year
Mm.
each. To people that don't understand how to switch on the mobile phones, that's running a cybercrime team. It just doesn't make sense. But long story short, I couldn't be associated with something that looked as if it was slightly fishy in any way, if it would harm my professional career because I couldn't if I couldn't get the answers and I was one of the senior people on the team, if I couldn't get answers out the government or the Home Office or policing forces about why is this money going to this person, then good luck for the general public to ask that, and it could actually genuinely impact my professional stance if I have one.
Yeah, I get that. I definitely do get that. But I could definitely feel because like it was straight up when you said about the whole like oh to like increase money, I straight up just got like oh yeah, there it is. There's where it fucking is. You know,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
just
I,
it's just
I just, it bothered me that we could have had a situation where there was a middle ground, and this bothers me a lot about the kind of the way the world is at the moment. Like people have so polarizing views, and they never change. But there is a middle ground there if you're just
yeah,
willing to accept it. They could have paid themselves £300 a day
yeah.
as kind of an average consultant salary or average consultant kind of rate, like £300 a day, ran the team, but gave the ability to run and make decisions to the people who actually know what the hell they're talking about.
Mm,
Instead, everybody got greedy. They took the money. They kicked us all out. So I left, but everybody else was kicked out. I left
mm.
after the fucking bullshit quote, and everybody else was kicked out. So what have they been doing for the last 18 months? Nothing other than taking taxpayers' money, which is, in my eyes, wrong. Maybe they are actually doing something. I don't know, but they're not responding to journalists. They're not responding to me. They're not responding to the Home Office. Like Christ knows what they're doing. But you could have had a middle ground where you were paid 300 quid a day and did some good work at the same time. I would have been happy with that. You didn't even need to pay me for it. I would have been quite happy. But no, you had to be greedy. That
Honestly,
sucks.
it just sounds like the old sort of adage that somebody being greedy has ruined something good. You know,
Absolutely. So I didn't even I've never heard of that one before, but you're absolutely spot on. It's someone
not
being
gonna lie,
greedy that's knocked
I
on.
think I don't even think I've heard of it before, but I think I just made that up on the spot. Someone being
But
greedy made ruin something
cop
good. That's good.
copyright
Fucking
it.
right there. That's
Copyright
fucking
it.
good. Fucking hell. You heard it here first.
Copyright it. Trademark it.
uh,
Sell it for
okay.
$3 million a year.
I literally just, just, it was weird. Just kind of like going like, so I said that. I was like, wait, no, I've never heard. What the fuck?
Subliminal. Subliminal, man.
uh, it's my quote of the day. I'm actually writing that down. I'm probably gonna use it. I'm getting on
But
about myself again. Um,
no, I the one thing that I don't have in front of me just now is like the talk chat or talk questions. If anybody wants to shout or ask me questions or talk about anything, please do. Like interrupt me.
I'm actually just because like, yeah. I'm curious actually. The thing you were saying about the thing you did earlier, the thing you helped with earlier, is that the thing that we've talked about before? About what, probably about 3 o'clock in the morning. Am I allowed to
Yes,
ask? Am I allowed to ask questions about that?
kinda. So it's really this is really awkward, but kinda
Or
and kinda not.
we can kind of just we can just gloss over it.
You can gloss over it, yeah.
Will we just pretend I never asked or just continue on?
No, you just like literally, it was a case that was quite impactful publicly.
Mm,
A case that, let's just say, certain journalists in the UK picked up, and certain wannabe journalists in the UK picked up, and as a result of that, the president of the United States even got involved, talking about it.
that doesn't
So
count.
that definitely doesn't count. But so it was quite high profile, and we helped try and analyze everything that was going on. I think my favorite part of all that was hearing that the, the team that was meant to do it only worked 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, and they were all in their beds when it happened. So yeah, so without intervention by external volunteers, I wasn't the only one. By external volunteers who just happened to be right place, right time, and knew certain things,
Mm,
that case wouldn't have come to fruition. And yeah, they wouldn't have found who did it, what they did, how they did it, and it would have just been another embarrassment actually on policing, but also an embarrassment to the country as a whole. I mean, I'm
mm.
not nationalistic in any sense, but it would have just been embarrassing going, oh God, here's the police. It's getting high, police getting jacked again. Yeah, what do we expect from public service IT? Like, I'm thinking back to Marcus with the NHS. Like, yeah, okay, the systems were shit and there was a lot of problems, but he swooped in and saved it. I'm not comparing myself to him in any manner of means, but
It's like,
ri-
wait, what?
right place, right time, and just right attitude, and was able to fix something that the entirety of NHS Digital were probably not able to see, because they're working, and all respect to them, but they're working tunnel vision with their own systems. Like, being able to use that as a case to go, this is why you still need volunteers or paid employees that know what the hell they're talking about, that won't show up with a shirt and tie. this is why you still need these people rather than just, people that can regurgitate answers out of a fucking textbook. That was my idea behind it, was to hopefully somehow use it as an example case. But yeah, I think
Well,
that's as much as I can actually say without
yeah,
doxing the entire case.
yeah. No, I'm there as well. Just kind of like, yeah, no, I'm not going to say much about it. But is there? I had a curiosity because now that we've like teased it, and I feel like we've literally just done a thing at the end of an episode, like an end of a TV episode, where they've spot like say like, oh, this is going to happen next season. You're like, fuck, come on. But when are you actually legally allowed to like even like start talking about that? Do you have to wait for the whole process to sort of end, or
There's
is it?
there's nothing legal stopping me talking about it.
Ah, okay. But you just kind
So
of okay.
it's more a case of, it's kind of like when, just because I'm writing an article on this at the moment,
Mm,
it's right in the forefront. It's kind of like Jester versus Sabu, or Anonymous versus HB Gary, or anything like
mm,
that. I don't mind painting a target on my back when it comes to general shit that I tweet, or me up against policing for corruption. But when it comes to a criminal case like that, and it's a bit too close for home for me to potentially talk about it in that light for a little while longer, put it that way. 6 or 12 months roughly, and then I'll probably be like, "Hey, fuck it, we can talk about this now. It's all good, and everybody's friends and happy, and I'm not gonna get stabbed." So,
fair enough. No, fair enough. Anyway, actually, where do you write your articles? Because I'm not gonna lie, I checked your website and it just seems to be a front page. And I'm just like, I don't know what to do now.
obviously, you never read the entirety of it, because it actually says if you're looking for things that I write, you can click this link,
Ah,
medium.com. So I
you
write a lot of stuff on Medium.
oh, I didn't even I
Yeah.
always thought Medium was just sort of like your basic sort of website. You know what I mean? Well, one of those news websites.
Yeah, so
But
I decided to move my own blog to Medium because I got fed up getting jacked. Like, I was constantly under attack because I ran WordPress. I had to keep it up to date, and I wasn't. It was just constantly getting bombarded with shit, like shitty spam, or like people were just trying to like run Heartbleed on it like recently, and it just got to the point I was like, do you know what? Fuck it. I'll put up a basic HTML website, something really just slick and easy, and then I'll just dump everything on Medium, because you can get the curation thing where
mm,
people stumble across your articles. And I thought, hey, I might as well. It's a really nice writing interface. I don't need to fuck around with themes and WordPress and all that nonsense. It's just a really nice title, images, text, done. People can thumbs up or thumbs down it. Please thumbs down every article I write, but they can
you're
thumbs up or
welcome.
thumbs down it, and that's it. And I can just say to someone, here's my entirety of whatever I've discussed over the last 10 years.
Is it bad? Like, I'm not gonna lie, this is not even like on you, but I honestly thought like fucking Medium was like something like Lad Bible or something.
No,
I
no,
had
it's
no idea what
I
Medium
was
was.
I was curious about it before I joined, but
Yeah.
you know what? It's just a nice outlet, something easy that I can do. They've got really nice tools for grabbing, so the little cards you get on Twitter when you share an article, you can actually define that really, really simply, idiot proof, Scott proof style. So you can say, right, I want this image to be on the card, and I want this to be in the titles, and people can comment on that shit. I don't need to introduce Discus or any of that crap, or a third party plugin that somehow links into Discus and other stuff. Like, there's no potential security vulnerability. And I think that was one of the things I was worried about, was so-called, you know, security person and your website getting jacked. Like, I just didn't want to even go down that, because the amount of times that I check my website are so few and far between that, like, apart from the monitoring I've got on it, like, if someone were to go in and make one simple tweak, I probably wouldn't notice it for a very long time.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to go down that route of potentially being a target.
I get that. I've actually just I put your the Medium blog or Medium, yeah, the Medium blog, yeah, into the text chat, and I've also put it into the the Discord chat. But I was even just seeing there. I've checked your like the Twitter thing. You were talking about the whole like what you're talking about the whole what happened with the police. And like I know some stuff, but I'm trying to make it as I'm trying to entice everybody. Basically, if you want to actually read up more about what happened with the police, for everybody else in the room, you can check out that sort of thing. There's a blog post there. It's literally the first blog post that has every information about it. which I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be looking at later on today. Um, right. Actually, what do you do now? Actually, now,
That's it.
what would you?
That's a really interesting question. So now,
I already know about your IMBD, so.
yeah, so yeah, I have a IMDb profile, but I do a lot of work on TV and radio. I'm usually used as their talking head or their so-called expert. Again, this comes back to that guy I played in the band with who just introduced me to someone at a TV station who said, "Hey, do you want to meet Alexis Conran and consult on that show?" And ended up on the show itself, and we ended up friends. And through him, I've just ended up in a bunch of TV shows, a bunch of little YouTube things as well. Um, from that to OSINT, I do kind of private OSINT stuff for people that have been targeted by frauds based on my background within vague outskirts of policing, but also with working with closely with fraud officers and action fraud, trying to get them money back, so these are private clients I've lost a shit ton of money, but they're a bit different to you and I. If we lost 100 quid, we'd be panicking over it. But these people have lost probably millions, and they're like, "Take your time, you get them. We'll take them to court. We're going to get that money back, and we'll kebab these people that did it." Like, so it's kind of nice, and they pay you quite well for it. It's private security stuff, so just in case anybody thinks it's not actual physical security, but it's like, yeah, I just curl up in the fetal position and you do your worst. Go for it. Go for it. Just do what you need to do. But no, it's just trying to recommend to people
Take my
what to do.
wallet.
Take my wallet, take my life, take my wife. Just take everything. But no,
Just
I've
like Martin.
tried so hard to kind of like teach people about how to keep themselves safe and all that kind of stuff. So trying to do that for people, vulnerable people, specifically vulnerable people, or people high net worth individuals, or anything like that, trying to make sure they're safe, which is kind of like the morality on that is kind of like pay your tax, but there's a bit of a standoff on that. Like, if I protect their money, maybe they will pay more tax because they've got more money instead of giving it to these fraudsters. Like, so there's it's yeah, I'm clutching at straws here, trying to make it more valid in my head. But there's me. And then aside from that, I just do occasional projects that pop up that I want to work on, and yeah, just be a massive shit poster
Yeah.
and make sandwiches with you at 5 a.m. or something, 6 a.m. Sorry.
Yeah. I look back on those and I'm just like, I'm not drinking. And then like Friday comes along, I'm drinking.
It's good fun. It's good fun. 5 a.m.
Uh,
sandwiches are the thing you need to do.
should probably actually mention then, considering we talk about that, about the InfoSec happy hour. Should we talk about that, or it's not
Absolutely.
exactly like your baby, but like, or our baby or whatever, but like it's still a.
It's a family affair, man. It's a family affair. Everybody, so every Friday, Sean Wright, and I think it's Sean Wright that came up with it and kind of
Mm,
hosts it for the first couple hours before he goes to bed. And then it's usually me for the next 6 hours until about, I think the last one on Friday ran until 9:30 a.m. Holy
what?
shit. Yeah, so from 8 p.m. UK time to 9:30, I think, a.m. UK
Were you there
time.
for the whole time?
Fucking hell. No, I went to bed at 7. I just gave up and gave host to someone else. But it's basically a massive group of people, and
Mm.
everybody's welcome unless you're a douchebag. And I mean
Also, I'm
that.
not welcome anymore.
No, I mean that in the sense that you're a douchebag, as in the type of people that are not allowed to these things. Or if it was a conference, they would be yeeted straight away. That kind of thing.
Ah, yeah.
But it's a group of friends, and we're all just down the pub, and majority of us didn't meet each other beforehand. The majority of us didn't know each other before lockdown happened. Sean put it together as a way for us to have a couple of beers on a Friday night and talk shit. I think this week we've got Troy Hunt on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Troy Hunt's going to be joining the InfoSec Happy Hour. But last week we had Ken Monroe, who, if you didn't see it, the 5G BioShield little USB things that you plug in your machine and it protects you from 5G because of reasons from Pentest Partners. He demoed it live on air, and pulled it apart. They totally tore it down, but he pulled it apart, showed us what it all was, told us what was on it, told us how it was working. They did some OSINT stuff on it. it's really, really cool. Basically, it's just a group of fucked up family members talking about shit until the early hours, and you drink loads, and I occasionally may get my top off. That's basically the way it works.
And we all have videos of Scott taking his top off.
Yeah, I have to wonder about people that are just, like, sitting there with a finger over the record button just in case that happens. Like, it's worrying. It's worrying.
uh, I get sent them every now.
Yeah, so I get sent them as well, like, the morning after, and I'm just like, "Oh god." It's like, someone in here sent me a link to something, and I didn't realize that that's like, I it got brought up on the call, it was a massive shit post, it was funny, I laughed about it, woke up the next day, totally forgotten, didn't understand it,
Oh,
and then on
yeah.
Monday, I get sent the same link, and I was like, "Oh shit, that happened, didn't it? This is gonna be very interesting to explain."
I feel like I should. Yeah. For
I'm not
everybody who
do
doesn't
I'm not
know,
doxing it. I'm not doxing it. Fuck
I'm
that.
doxing it. Everybody who doesn't know, if you go to your browser right now and put TITSPIN.TK, you'll find a very interesting website. I'm very surprised.
A very good website, and if you there's more than meets the eye in it as well. So if you refresh it, you play around, you'll find more hidden features. Not that you need
Oh,
it, but yeah, it's
uh,
it's a fun time.
yeah. Um. Anyway, is there anything else you want to talk about? I'm sort of ran out of subjects.
I've just as I said earlier, the trick isn't getting me to talk. The trick is getting me to shut up. So I'm quite happy to leave. I'm quite happy to stay. I'm quite happy to hang around and it not be a podcasty environment. I can chat to people. It's up to you.
I'd be down for sort of that. I think we just sort of ran out of time because I found out that Graham has is not allowed to touch his computer the entire time we're doing a talk because I don't have access to the Twitch stream. So he's just sort of sitting there, just like, I want to play Age of Empire, but he can't. So, um, it's great. I love doing this every week.
Okay, so I
Uh,
I I I wouldn't say any more, but, listen, thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me talk shit. I think it's really cool, like, it's the first time I've kinda just chatted shit about where I came from, and if there's a piece of advice I can give to any students out there, look at me. The next time you fail something, look at me and go, "Well, that prick made it, so I can probably make it too." And I'm
yeah,
still finding my feet. I've still no idea what the fuck I wanna be when I grow up. I have no idea. I'm still finding my feet and I'm fucking winging it for 90%.
yeah.
Just you do you and be unapologetically yourself.
Well, I'll give just a quick reply to that. Here's something for your confidence, even though you told me to fuck off. When it comes to the whole like being on the TV and being that expert, that's become a goal. You've made that become a goal for me. I want to sort of do that shit. So I will personally say I kind of do look up to you a little bit. But I'm tall. How tall are you, by the way? How many foot?
Shorter than you, 5 foot
Cool. So you look
something.
all right. So you
I
look
don't
up
know.
to me, and I look down on you. But in reality, I look up to you, and you're small. But
Isn't there some quote about looking upwards and all you see is assholes or something like that? I'm sure there's a quote about that, like the monkeys on a tree and all they look up and all they see is assholes.
I'm not
No?
getting into that because
Yeah,
I can very.
I was gonna say Google that, but it's probably not what you probably don't wanna go monkeys assholes into Google. Like, do it. I mean, fuck it, why not?
Wait, no, that's illegal. Don't do
You've already gave them titspin.tk, like, let's
that.
like, that's the lowest of their concerns.
That's the limit. That is the limit.
But thanks, man.
Uh,
That's a really, really nice comment. But like you do you and do you know what? Just I know it sounds so fucking cheesy, but shoot for it, aim for it, and then find people that have friends in TV and just fucking go to them and go, here's a bag of tricks and here's all this cool shit I can do. And just say
oh,
yes.
I just realized I can do that because I have loads of friends already in that. Fuck. Having friends in acting industry is handy. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about myself. And I just want to say it's been fantastic. Thank you so much for coming along, Scott. You're one of the coolest people in InfoSec I know. You cannot rebuttal that. Don't fucking start. And thanks everybody else for coming along to the TU Dublin Ethical Hacker Sock podcast/talk/ I don't really know what I'm doing. I only woke up at 3:30 today. And I hope to see you next time. And if anybody wants to see Scott again, you can find him on the InfoSec Power Hour every Friday between 8 o'clock. If you want in details, you'd have to annoy Sean Wright on Twitter or at AppSecBloke for information. And yeah, that's it. Get the fuck out of my house.